Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to the videos of the paid request. This time it's for Efree. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time I'm talking about Deadpool 2. Now, I watched the super duper, the other cut of the film, not the one that went in theaters, because he did mention that cut. I don't remember all the differences between the two cuts, so I apologize for that. But I do remember when I saw both cuts, I do remember liking this cut a bit more, because some of the action was extended. But Deadpool 2 came out in 2018. The first film was a massive success. And they got a much better... I mean, Tim Miller did fine for the first film, but they did get a better director, and that's David Leitch. Now, David Leitch, do I love every film he's done? No, I wasn't big on Atomic Blonde. But he worked on the first John Wick. Really enjoy that film. He worked on Bullet Train. I really enjoyed that film. I've heard nothing but good things about The Fall Guy. I haven't seen it. I haven't been requested that. But again, I've heard good things about it. And it's one of those things where you have a guy that knows what he's doing action-wise. Now, I know in the review for the first film I mentioned how the action, a lot of times not the big forte of the Deadpool films. I kind of regret saying that because Deadpool 2, like that at least, for the first 2/3 of the film, because I do think the third act, the action is kind of meh, it's alright. But the first 2/3, the action is really good. And it starts out with a bang, literally, where Deadpool kills himself and blows himself up and complains about how Wolverine stole his thunder because he had an R-rated film and he died, Logan, that came out the year before. And he tells about like how he got in this predicament of blowing himself up. He's been killing bad guys for 2 years since the first movie. And you get this montage of excellent, well done, yes, CGI, but the way when I say directed, the way the camera is, the way the director adds the choreography, and there's just a lot more creativity during the fights. At one, it's Hong Kong against sex traffickers. He's cutting hands off. He's cutting heads off. There's a funeral where he's shooting bad guys. There's an Osaka bathhouse. And especially if you watch the extended version, this goes on for like 2 minutes, whereas this 360 where he's like killing all these bad guys and he does a damn little shish kebab here and taking this guy out, taking this guy in the water, cutting both of this guy's arms off. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? It looks so cool. It looks so neat. Yes, it's CG, but the way it's edited, it's not shaky cam. Again, the way like in that scene, the director's doing a 360, and obviously the passes hide the cuts, but just really nice choreography that felt very smooth. And while I do like the first film, I thought this was a nice step up. The action definitely stepped up. The comedy was still pretty funny. Even him misdoing the Spanish biblioteca, but he thinks is I don't bargain. So he's talking, I don't bargain, pumpkin fucker. Like the way he said that in such a low tone made me genuinely laugh and bust a gut. It's been a while since I've seen this film, and I do like it, but, so many films, so little time. When he said that, I laughed, like, I don't bargain, pumpkin fodder. I just again, that low tone he had, just something about what that made it funnier to me. In this drug factory shootout scene, I forgot about this scene where the guy's running and Deadpool's like killing everybody in the background with axes. He throws a gas canister and shoots it. He uses a chainsaw. I'm like, holy crap. Then the guy locks himself in a panic room. He runs out. He jumps to the window of the cab drivers. Get out of here, get out of here. Let's go, let's go. He goes back to his place. It's the anniversary with his loved one, Vanessa. Bad guys come in. And then you have another good choreographed fight scene where he's using pans. He gets a whole thing with knives. He's throwing this knife, utilizing this knife. You know, you get the guy who directed one of the John Wick films. He was one of the directors who worked on the first one. You don't get some pretty good... You're hiring him to bring the action. And that's what really did for me in this. In a good way. Something screws up. He misses. A guy shoots a bullet. It hits his girl. She dies. And that's where you get... He chases him down. I like the seriousness of the situation. He grabs a guy. Has them both hit. They run over by this truck. And then you have the credits. I like the credits go, did they really do that? Really? She was in the first one. What? Each credit's like puzzled as to what the hell happened. I thought that was kind of funny. And a beautiful looking James Bond type of intro. I thought it was very beautifully done. I always say intro-wise, it was the best intro of the Deadpool films. And also they had an original song. Because, you know, a lot of times, okay, you don't use a song they've used before. No, they got Celine Dion to do a new song. I believe it's a new song. I don't think this song was used before, right? Let me double check. Ashes. Let me make sure. No, I think this was done for Deadpool 2, I believe. I think, yeah. I thought that was a really good song. I think it works very well. And I remember when I first, saw this, I went, okay, I remember liking the first Deadpool. And then within the first 15 minutes, I'm like, damn, they amped this up a bit. Okay. I'm intrigued to where the story's going. The action is on fire. This opening credit, like, we got a James Bond looking feel to these credits. The song is pretty cool. What the hell, man? And it goes on from there where Deadpool, of course, is depressed. Sadly, we have T.J. Miller back because I don't think he's that funny. I wish he wasn't in the film. Thankfully, he's not in the third one. You have Blind Owl back. I did like where she gets scared. She pulls the gun the wrong way. So Deadpool's like... Also the fact of, like, Deadpool, like, he just don't care anymore. He just wants to die. So he takes cocaine and puts it in, and then, like, tells her there's a cure for cancer. And was it in the first movie that he said that? It might have been the first movie, actually, that he said that. There's cocaine and a cure for cancer. Go find it. Yeah, I think it was in the first movie. Because in this, he goes in and, yeah, because he steals the stash, and there's the cure for cancer, or for blindness. There's the cure for blindness. Okay, he said that as a joke to the first one. Oh my god, he really does have the cure for blindness. So, okay, he said in the first one, but here he takes it and then does the cocaine stuff, so. But I like both of that. And I think this is in the extended cut. The montage added and extended of him trying to end his life. Where it's a polar bear, he takes his big fall, all this other stuff. Until Colossus finally finds him, takes him to the X-Men mansion, and tries to get him to become an X-Man and get his hopes up again. The comedy I thought was funny, a decent amount. I did like the line where he's tired to loss is talking, so he's like, let's play a game. Adrian Brody or Adam Bodie? Now, close your eyes and open your mouth. I thought the way he delivered that was actually kind of funny. You do have a cameo from the young X-Men, because they couldn't get the older guys. Which I know is the fourth wall breaking. You're not supposed to take this seriously, but then you think, okay, well, wait a minute. Does that mean this takes place in the timeline of the younger X-Men? So it takes place in the 80s? But you're not supposed to think about that. I know, it's like Airplane or something. Like, you're not supposed to, it's a parody. It's like Hot Shots Part 2. You're not supposed to think of it in reality. But it's sometimes hard for my brain to do that with a film like this. Now, I guess he was... I was thinking, like, okay, who the villain in this movie is. I guess you would say the people running this orphanage. But, I mean, they are the bad guys, but you don't get a whole lot of screen time with the bad guys there. It's more about, there's this kid named Russell, wants to call himself Fire Fist. And we have Cable. Comes back from the future because he wants to get this person who's going to become a serial killer and kill his family. And that's this kid Russell. Because Russell's going to be tired of being tortured at this orphanage. Kill the guy. He's going to get a taste for it. Then Cable's come back to kill this kid and save his family. Now, they cast Josh Brolin as Cable. It would have been nice to have someone like Dolph Lundgren in there. I think that would have been cool. Very cool, because I'm a big Dolph Lundgren fan. And, you know, like Josh Brolin, but at the same time, you gotta remember, this was Fox. Disney, those are two separate things. So it's like, okay, we're not really with Marvel, so Thanos doesn't really exist in this universe. Okay. Let's have Josh Brolin. And Josh does a good job. He did a really good job. I like the look of Cable, I like the arm, I like the eye, I like his demeanor, where he's growly, and he doesn't have a whole lot of banter to go with Deadpool, but when he does, there's some funny stuff, like when Deadpool keeps trying to call him racist, and just gets on his nerves. Like, the way that's done, I thought was actually kind of hilarious. What happens during the story is that there's a situation at this orphanage. Colossus takes Deadpool with him. Deadpool tries to calm the situation. I did like the running joke that he's an X-Men trainee and people keep correcting him on it. One thing leads to another. He realizes what happened to the kid, so he shoots the abuser. Colossus is bad about that. They put this collar on him that takes away your powers. Him and the kid are sent to the icebox, this prison for mutants. And eventually they get beaten up, they get threatened, and then Cable comes in and tries to kill the kid. And again, David Leitch, at least he knew for the action scenes, we're going to have some practical explosion thrown there, so it's not just everything CGI. He knew how to handle action scenes the best of these three movies, and how to stage them better, how to choreograph them more of a slicker fashion, to get more bang for your buck and these hits and punches, and which is like the writers and Ryan Reynolds, they will take care of the comedy. The director, you need to get the pacing, you need to get the action, you need to get the other spectacle. That'll be your job. These guys will handle the comedy. I think that's really the best bet for these movies. Sadly, David Leitch, I think, is he's the best guy. He's the best director so far of this franchise, of these films, I will say. Lines of dialogue I like, because when he has no powers, he's like, man, you give me a bow and arrow, I'm basically Hawkeye. Which, I mean, I feel bad because I liked Hawkeye, the character, but I mean, I guess he's kind of got a point. Other jokes I liked, Cable going, "Who are you?" "I'm Batman." "You're so dark, are you from the DC universe?" Yeah, I mean, the jokes seem obvious, especially nowadays, but I still thought they worked. I still thought they were pretty funny. So they're able to escape. Deadpool, because he's still in his funk, he says, "Oh, I don't care about that kid." He's still in his dickish, depressive funk. Gets blown out, separated. He has a couple visions of his dead girlfriend, realizing he needs to help this kid. So now there's this convoy they need to stop. He gets a team called X-Force. He hires this group of people. One of them is Terry Crews. One of them is a character named Shatterstar. One is called the Vanisher. One is a guy named Peter who has no powers. One is Domino. I know Domino, like they changed her race and stuff. Usually I'm like, but here, I guess it didn't bother me because, I don't know, the girl did a good job. They didn't really do anything that, like, they didn't ever mention skin color or any of that stuff. Well, they did, but at least in a funny way where he's making fun of Josh Brolin. At least it was done in like a clever, funny way when they did do that, instead of a message, pedantic, over the head way. If you don't do it well, you know, that type of thing. Like I said, not all the jokes work. When Cable first arrives, there's the two people rednecks talking. One of them is Matt Damon, the other is Alan Tudyk. And I like Alan Tudyk. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, among other films. But it's like this conversation about toilet paper that goes on for like 2 minutes. And about how toilet paper, you know, use baby wipes. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't care if you use your hand, your handkerchief, your washcloth, your friend's t-shirt, your floss your ass. I don't care. Shut up. About your TP for your bunhole. I wish that scene was either better comedy, better humor, or just done in a different way, or some other way. I mean, I just didn't find that funny. I thought it was really stupid and cringy. What I did find funny was the X-Force. Like, someone warns about the wind, but, oh, it's okay. They jump out and the wind blows everybody. So people either get put into helicopter blades or through truck windshields or wood chippers. And most of the team gets killed. I thought that was kind of funny. I did like the use of AC/DC's Thunderstruck to get your blood pumping, and then the swerve. But I thought it was a pretty funny swerve. Although, spoiler for Deadpool and Wolverine, why is Shatterstar dead here but alive in the next one? And they never explain why. Because he's here and he goes into helicopter blaze, he becomes puree. He becomes someone's milkshake. Green avocado milkshake. I'll get to that next one. Oh yeah, and you see the Vanisher, he gets electrocuted, and it's Brad Pitt. Which of course is cool, because after this, David Leitch would work with Brad Pitt on Bullet Train, which was a nice surprise. That was a fun movie. I really like Bullet Train. That was a good one. Then you have the action scene in the truck, which I thought was pretty well handled. Domino. I liked her. They made her power really interesting, that is luck. Now, granted, yes, there's a lot of CGI being used during this. Granted, it'd be very hard to do that practically, to be fair. But just like how it's like a. a good version, like it's a positive version of Final Destination in a way. Like all this stuff happens so she could be lucky. And yeah, it's like the happy version of Final Destination, if that makes sense. And that was kind of interesting to see how that plays out. It makes for some interesting bits of action, like in the orphanage with how these people die with like shells falling on their heads and stuff. It definitely wears the R rating. Juggernaut appears in the film. He rips Deadpool in half. I did like the bit where he had to regrow his legs and they're pretty small. Cable finds them. I did like the line where he says, "Don't fuck you to death with your own broken feet." They pretty much they're all gonna go to the orphanage and give Deadpool a chance to talk the kid down. Now again, other bits I liked. I liked the bit during the truck sequence where Cable's trying to get the kid. Deadpool's trying to get there, and he has his hand on a gun, and he gets shot, and he goes through the gun, and he turns around and makes the guy shoot himself in the head with his own gun. I thought that. See, that's what I'm talking about, like creativity, and I thought more of that could have been used in Deadpool 3, which I'll get to that. I did not hate that film. The one coming up next. I did not hate it. I liked it. But I do think it's a flawed film. Fairly flawed film. But I did like it. But I'll get to that in a few minutes. Well, whenever, I don't know. I'll get to that in a bit. I'm trying to think. Cable tells his story. I thought Josh Brolin did a good job selling that story. I did like the bit where he does the say anything with the boom bots to try to get Colossus to join them. And he's like talking to them, trying to be a badass, but then he actually bumps into the taxi. Something about that I thought I laughed at. One of the few complaints I had with the film, I thought the third act, I wish Deadpool had a bit more to do, badassery style. It seems like he just didn't have a. I mean, he does stuff, but it just didn't seem as memorable as you would like for a third act. Like Domino, her battle, Inside, and how by her luck and their opposite of luck, she kills them. At least that was inventive, creative. Cable, and at the same time, they're fighting, what, security guards at an orphanage? I mean, it's not really much for our heroes to go up against. And again, these are like security guards. It's like, okay, is that really a big threat for these guys? And, Cable's doing some shooting. A little bit of John Wick type of thing. A little bit. Deadpool uses like a brick. Hits some stuff. Hits some people with it. Like I said, it's alright. But I just wish for Deadpool to do a lot more during that finale. And then Colossus fights the Juggernaut. I don't think you needed the bit where he had to pull down his pants and shove a cable up his ass. And electrocute him. I'm like, okay. Alright. Kind of that thing like, yeah, okay. Also, the music during this scene I thought sucked. Now again, this was in the super duper. I'm trying to think if there's a different music in the theatrical, but I remember, even if there was, I remember not liking that either. So yeah, the music they used during this fight scene I thought was really lame. Really poor choice. I will say that's one thing they did much better in the third one, is they got a much better music choice. Just Like a Prayer, Madonna, definitely much better choice. One leads to another. He tries to talk the kid down. He decides to make a self-sacrifice, puts a collar on, takes the bullet, The table is going to give to the kid. The kid realizes, oh my god, this guy tried to do it for me, someone actually does care. Things are fixed. Table looks and sees that his family is safe. Cable takes his time thing, goes back, puts something on Deadpool's chest so it saves him. And Deadpool's, oh, you did it for me? No, I didn't. Oh, you did it for me. Let's flip a coin. I'm not even going to look. You did it for me. Like, okay, I thought that was pretty funny. And then by he has a family. At the end credits, I like the usage of "If I could turn back time." I thought that was a very cool, clever way of doing the credits, where he's like fixing the timeline, so he saves his girlfriend. We're definitely gonna name our kid Cher. He shoots the fake Deadpool, and that's been Origins Wolverine. In the extended cut, he adds dialogue saying, one day you don't lay your claws down, people don't be sad, but one day I'm going to come back, and which is funny. It's weird hearing the way he says his dialogue is exactly what happened 6 years later. How one day we're going to get you back, in this case at a low point in Marvel, and hell, Deadpool and Wolverine at this point is probably the most successful film they had since Avengers Endgame. Well, Spider-Man No Way Home, to be fair. But part of that is Sony, so they get a chunk of change from it, to be honest. But I mean, just Disney by itself with a superhero, and the fact it was an R-rated film that did $1 billion, that's even more crazy. But yeah, your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. Now, he does kill Ryan Reynolds for looking at the Green Lantern script. I'm like, dude, can you get over Green Lantern already? Thank God he does not mention that in the third movie. I will say that. Again, Green Lantern is not even your worst film, dude. I get it. People hated it. I do get that. But let me look up his filmography. I'm just curious. If I looked up his filmography. I forgot he was in... That's right, he was in Bullet Train. I forgot about that. That's right. I completely forgot about that movie. I mean, I forgot about that. But, let's see. Red Notice, that was a lame as hell movie. I think Green Lantern is better than Red Notice. I do like Six Underground. I do like The Hitman's Bodyguard. I even like The Hitman Wife's Bodyguard. Let's see. Criminal. I think Green Lantern is better than Criminal. I think Green Lantern is better than R.I.P.D. I like it more than Buried. I like it more than X-Men Origins Wolverine. I like it better than Amityville Horror Remake. I like it better than Blade Trinity. Some of this I haven't seen, like The Crew. Some of these are cameos or Life. There you go. With Jake Gyllenhaal, I definitely enjoy Green Lantern a lot more than Life. Because that's one of those weird films. He was in it, but he was only in it for a little bit. And I think he only did like because the writers worked on Deadpool. So I guarantee he did that as like a favor. I'll do it as a favor. Anyway, sorry, going off tangent. I did like this bit, which I think is in only the extended cut, where he goes back to maybe kill baby Hitler, and you think he did it, but then at the end credits, he's holding the baby. He's like, oh my god, it's harder than I thought. You know what, let me go to table. He loves killing kids. He loves killing kids. So I thought that was pretty funny. So overall, I mean, while I do wish the action in the third act was more noteworthy, in particular Deadpool himself, I wish Deadpool had a bit more like badass moments in the third act. I mean, I know this sounds stupid. And like I said, not every bit of comedy, like the T.J. Miller stuff and the Matt Damon cameo, like, But overall, like, I like the usage of cable. I think the action was definitely a big step up. I didn't mind the kid, Russell. I like the story. In the first one, I like the story a bit more. Yeah, I would say I definitely like this more than the first. And it was a worthy sequel. I thought it was a fun sequel. I really did enjoy. You watch it again, I'm like, yeah, this is a really good film. Of the superhero films in the past 10 years, this is definitely up there as I think one of the better ones. So much that I stuttered. I thought. But like I said, the third act, I wish there was a bit more to it in terms of excitement, thrills. Again, especially the Deadpool himself doing more adversaries, more stuff to overcome physically, if that makes sense. But with that said, I still quite like the film. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Later.